It is not a fluke, but a purposeful occurrence, done on purpose, that the Yud He Vav He name is pronounced Adonai, which is the pronunciation of the Aleph Dalet Nun Yud name. Now, we accept these kind of things. We don't say the name Yud He Vav He, and we pronounce it Adonai. But Adonai comes from Malkus. Yud He Vav, Adonai is Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, comes from Malkus. And Yud He Vav He comes from Tiferet and Zir Anpin and the six, of Zir Anpin, 6 pharaohs of Zir Anpin, but mainly Tiferet, which is a masculine concept. So, when you pronounce Yud He Vav He with Adonai, you're adding a feminine name from Malkus, the Adonai, the physical name of this world, to the Yud He Vav He name. So we're giving it a feminine cover. We're including the masculine within the feminine. And it's its outside shell using the feminine name. The other name that's used, because Aleph Dalet Nun Yud isn't used that much in the Torah. The major name that's used in the Torah besides Yud He Vav He is Elohim. Elohim is also considered a feminine name because it comes from Bina. So the two major names are Yud He Vav He from Tiferet and Elohim from Bina. So without confusing you all too much, that's a modest way of saying confusing myself as I'm talking here. Let me get to the point what I'm trying to say. I'm bringing this into the chromosomes. Because the chromosomes, the male chromosome is a X and a Y, and the female chromosome is a double X. So here we are, what I just expressed. The male is a X and a Y, a female and a male. That's when you use, when you're expressing Yud He Vav He with a feminine Adonai. That together makes an X as the Adonai and the Y as the Yud He Vav He. Because the male is comprised of male and female. But then we get the female. And the female in the chromosomes is two X's. She's a double entendre, a double of herself, a mirror image of herself. She is her own object, which is obvious. She is in love with herself, so to speak. She glamorizes for the self and is in the physical component. These are the two names, Elohim and Adonai, as Aleph Dalet Yud Nun Yud. Those two names, by the way, 86 and 65, go together as 151 and actually spell mikvah, and that's one of the reasons that women take mikvah. It's also one of the spellings of Adonai, but that's another story. And then the man's chromosomes comprise a male and a female. And so when that female gets split off, he then goes for, so to speak, the female as the XX. So there's two females in the female, and there's a male and a female in the male. Now this is in the chromosomes, this is in the Torah. This is in the person. And we know this because Adam was born with male and female within him. And then it was split off. This is very important for me to show the manifestations of these things and the covers. That this morning, while I was praying, it came to me about the cover. The Adonai name for Yud Hey Vav Hey. Why are we saying a feminine name, a Malkus name, for, in my opinion, the spiritual level of God that only appears on the second day? This has been brought down so many times, this dichotomy, this split, this two-ness. In my environment here, it's brought down by Soloveitchik and the Yeshiva University and the people that they've influenced. And this is the American Judaism, so to speak, American Orthodoxy, where they talk in the Lonely Man of Faith that there's two Adams, in Adam 1 and Adam 2, and of the chapter, first chapter of Genesis, and then the second chapter. And the first man is like the natural man, and then the second is the spiritual man. And for me, Adam 1 and Adam 2, since God is man, man is God, there are two gods. There's two gods. Two names of God. And there are two gods. And that's what makes the Echad, the unity. And a lot of these problems get washed away when you really find out that there are two gods in Judaism. There's Yud Hey Vav Hey, which is covered. People talk about Kabbalah being secret. Nothing can be more secret than not pronouncing Yud Hey Vav Hey, and to use a different name of God in its place. And nobody really questions what name are they using there. There's some great secrets here, as the Yud Hey Vav Hey is written Yud Hey Vav, and then a large Hey, and then within that Hey they write the Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, and the two things together come out to be 21 and 70, and it's 91, and it's the word Amen. And you explore these things for yourself. And the whole concept of 70, embraced within the 65, embraced within the Hay. Well, but to me, it's the feminine that covers the masculine. And it's always written that way as a Keter Malkuts. See, where the feminine rises on top. This is also expressed in a certain sense in the Rebbeinu Tam Tefillin, where the sections of the Tefillin are written Yud, Hey, Vav. There's a Hey that goes on top of the Vav. In the Rashi Tefillin, it's Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. In the Rebbeinu Tam Tefillin, those sections are reversed, and it's Yud, Hey, Vav. The feminine crowns the masculine, which is not much different to me than Adonai as the pronunciation of the name Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. And this, in a certain sense, leaves us open to show the feminine origin of the Shekinah and stuff like that, which is the Shekin Hey, the presence of Hey, and the divine presence of Hashem to begin with. And what is this Hey? But in my opinion, the physical, if you really want to know. It's the five of the physical, of the five-letter name, of the Elohim name. And remember, the Elohim name starts everything, the natural man. In a certain sense, within that Elohim name is the Yud Hey Vav Hey name. How does that come out? Some gematria of that would be 86 is the Elohim. There's a 26 in there, which could be an Aleph, as a Yud, Vav, Yud, written as such. And then 60 left over is the Samach. The Samach. And so we have an Aleph and a Samach, and we have Ein Sof. And we have Echad B'Sheshim. These are deep things. So the real Kabbalah is found in the most ordinary, in the most ordinary expression of when you say Adonai, and you really mean Yud Hey Vav Hey. And nobody says anything about it. And that's the beauty, because we're asleep. And the only time of the year that Yud Hey Vav Hey is stated is by the Kohen Gadol when he goes into Yom Kippur services in the Kodesh Kodeshim, the Holy of Holies. And on Yom Kippur he says that name. So what would that mean from a masculine sense? Since he's been preparing for that for 7 days, and they're watching him that he doesn't have emissions, and he has a union with God, and so he says the divine name, the masculine name, without the cover. Otherwise, we're just in a cover. So if you really want to get into it, there's 2 names of God at the least. But is God dual? And as you know, To have a unity, you must have a plurality. And all that plurality must come together, and that's a unity, and that's one. One, from a retro point of view, is the expression of everything that comes down from the infinity of above, of 10,000 to 1,000 to 900 to one. That's why the Torah starts with a bet, because there are two. Two. One. Three. Chokmah, Bina, Das. Two souls. And that second soul has two parts. Not much different than the chromosomes. You know? Anyway, so here are a few long-winded words about the subject that I seem to be focused on here. That there are really two gods in Judaism. The two gods that express themselves in the first two chapters of Genesis, of Bereshis. Chapter 1 is the physical world of Elohim. And the second chapter is the spiritual world, which I call the Jewish spirituality. That's what makes Jews unique, different than chapter 1. And that's the name of Adonai, of Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, which is pronounced Adonai, or given some other name, Hashem. So things like that, some cover. And that cover is a deep expression. But in the meantime, this is what I'm working on now. And when one recognizes this, a lot of esoteric troubles and problems fade away when you realize that there are two gods in Judaism.